staying watching the film. I'm very happy to invite the directors and the family and the filmmakers to come up for the Q&A. Should we give them all? We will have a guest moderator for this Q&A, which will be Hassan, who will be speaking to the filmmakers and some of the family as well. And I will be here as well if you need anything else. But in terms of asking the questions, you've got Slido up there again, so you can ask your questions through that way.
Thank you very much, everyone. I'm Hassan. I'll be chairing and moderating this discussion today. Without further ado, let's just welcome the family and the producing stage to the stage. So, funny enough, I was able to see 20 minutes of this at the Page Hall Festival, where the actual film is set in Page Hall. So it's really lovely to see the whole thing. First of all, congratulations. It's your first film here at DocFest, and congratulations to the family too and the promoters. Jim and Sam, the first question I'd say is, why this story? What was it that made you feel as filmmakers that you wanted to go to one of the most underserved communities in Sheffield and tell a story about a group of fighters?
Should I go for that one?
Yeah.
So long story really. I've known pretty much everybody in the film for about 10 years. I met Waj when I was 13, and I've known Ladislav for about 13 years probably. We used to train together and fight together and stuff. So the connection was already there in terms of actually, bringing the crew and the team together. I suppose the reason why we wanted to do it was to kind of contribute to changing the narrative around that particular area within the news and media. It has a very negative amount of press consistently, so we wanted to just bring quite a hopeful story forward.
I just love Sheffield, and I think it's a really unusual city. We've got a massive split with we've got some of the wealthiest parts of the country are in Sheffield, and some of the kind of most struggling parts are in Sheffield. So, yeah, it's kind of about bringing that to life as well, showing the kind of two sides of the city, I suppose. So that's kind of. I mean, it started, didn't it? Because we got invited to a night. Waj let us come along, and we kind of witnessed it firsthand and saw just how electric these nights were. So we kind of started there, really.
I'll follow on that, but Waj, how did it feel for you? So two lads come along and they say, we want to make a documentary. We don't know what it's going to end up being like. We don't know what it's going to look like. We don't know how long it's going to be. It's quite a leap of faith for you to go, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, for me personally, as a promoter, I mean, kickboxing and Thai boxing doesn't really get the press that boxing does. So it was great that these guys came and approached me, and I was, all for it. And also, I wanted to show the Roma community in a positive light and what they're doing in the sport. So for me, it was pretty much a win-win, both from getting the sort of Thai boxing, kickboxing on the agenda, and also pushing the Slovak community forward in a positive light.
And if I go over to the Horvath family, first of all, congratulations. You are quite literally the stars of the show. And I think the question is, as much as the filmmakers would try to make the show, this is not a show without you. This is not a documentary without you. So how did it feel for you when you were approached and someone said, we want to make a film of you guys? How did you feel that was going to go?
Probably good. I think is... Say something. Sorry, I didn't really know.
It's just a great feeling, seeing us at a young age and growing up, and everything just changed. This was a good experience for us.
Yeah. And so between filmmakers and the family, there's a lot of talk, and I come to DocFest every year, and there's always somebody who comes to me and says, Hassan, we've heard about this area called Page Hall, we'd love to make a film about it. And there's always this danger that it's you're kind of coming in, parachuting yourself in, wanting to tell a story, and then you're parachuting yourselves out. How did you guys as filmmakers avoid doing that?
Well, I mean, we did do that. You have to do that if you're kind of making a film. You come in, you go out. But, I've born and lived in Sheffield my whole life. I was born close to where these guys live. I don't know if they live there now, maybe not. Yeah, I think we just wanted it to be honest, really. Yeah, parachuting in and out, yeah, it's a strange one. We kind of did in a way, I suppose. There's no avoiding it, is there, in a way? But yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I suppose one of the key, we were very clear with Ladislav and the family from the very beginning of the film, and we kind of set the priorities of the project and kind of worked with them to tell the story that they wanted to tell. So we had very, very blunt conversations right at the beginning of the project and said, this is what we want to do. And then Ladislav said, yes, let's do it. And so I think we kind of had the trust there. And we used to send the footage to them, the scenes to them after every filming day. So they'd see it. And, there were a few times where they said, we like that bit, we don't like that bit, and we very much worked with them and collaborated with them to bring the story together. So I think, they've seen it loads of times now. I mean, we did the screening just underground under where the Sheffield Hallam areas are with them. And got some feedback then. So it's been a very collaborative project. It hasn't just been us kind of jumping in and, we're going to tell your story. It's not what we did.
And a question for all of you, how do you feel, do you think that the negative attention that area like Page Hall gets in the national media played a significant role in the kind of artistic direction in which you took the film and the kind of messages that you wanted to send in your film?
No, I don't think it did, actually. The film isn't really about Page Hall, it's just about a family, it's a moment in time, isn't it? And we follow the family, they happen to be from there. So really, I think from watching it, it's got quite a narrow focus. We don't try to deal with bigger issues or wider issues, really. But I hope from watching it that you can learn something about people in the film. I don't know, yeah.
On that note, we'll go straight to the audience. We've asked some questions. The first question we got is, what's next for the Horvath family?
We still are champions. We had a few problems with the lockdowns. We didn't train, so we was back in host country to Slovakia. So we will get back soon because that what we see in the screen, it will give us motivated, and we will be back soon. And thanks for Sam watching this guy.
It's been a while.
He is the director, but neither.
So we will be back soon.
Yeah.
We didn't finish.
Yeah. And just to add to that, as a promoter, before I get these guys back in the ring, I mean, they definitely show huge potential, especially Rene. I mean, before he kind of went off on his jollies to Slovakia and Dubai and wherever he's been, he's definitely is a fighter of the future. But before I get any of them back in, just want to reiterate that they all need to lose at least 10 kilos each before they're back to fight ready. Yeah.
That's the one.
Nice joke there. There is a question that's saying, how and when do you become professional? And will there be another film, Watch, if they do become professional, or when they become professional?
Well, it's up to these guys. I mean, for me personally, more promotion I can get around Thai boxing and kickboxing and get it out there, because it is a sport, especially Thai boxing, which has been pushed to try to get into the Olympics. So any kind of, I mean, this is great for us. It's first time something like this has been done. So for me, I would definitely be up for doing something similar again in the future.
We got, how's David?
David.
Whoever asked that question, David's at the back over there. He's coming up.
David's about a foot taller now.
Hi.
How are you feeling, David? How was it like to see yourself on screen?
Very excited.
Very excited. And are you still fighting?
Not around, but yeah.
And Waj, are we still thinking of getting David to become the champion of the world one day?
Of course, I mean, David's got huge potential. I mean, one thing I also wanted to say that it looks easy getting in there to fight, but believe me, I mean, I've done it once or twice myself, and I kind of like wanted to steer away from that and go into promoting, but it's a big thing just getting into that ring, win or lose, but just getting into that ring. So if somebody of 8 years of age who did that, I mean, he deserves a big round of applause for that.
So we've got another question coming in, which I think was quite nicely leading on. It's been a long time. You said you started filming in 2017. You started filming, it's now 2021. You can do the math now, 4 years. Yeah, I mean 2020 if that counts. What are the massive challenges that you faced? What are the biggest challenges that you faced? And what would you say to other filmmakers undertaking that large challenge? What advice would you give them?
This was kind of, or it started as a passion project, and you know, which basically that's code word for we didn't have any money to make it. I'm not sure. We never set out with an end goal in mind. We didn't know what kind of film we would come out with. It went through several different lengths. I had like a 9-minute version at one point where I squashed all the story into 9 minutes. My advice, I don't know. I think just go out there and give it a go. And you never know what you're going to come out with, really. I don't know.
I think, yeah, definitely the financial challenges were, you know, insane for this film. We got a very generous grant from the Film and TV charity in 2017, and you know, we wouldn't have been able to make the film without it, but we filmed for so long it ran out. And we did have a couple of instances, you know, we were editing the film on our home computers, you know, we were borrowing kit because we were so passionate about the film and the project, and you know, we were going out and filming. Weekends we'd go around to Ladislav's house, you know, have tea, coffee, we'd do interviews and stuff. We followed them to all the fights, so you know, by the time we got to the end, we were pretty much their biggest fans. So when we were at the actual fight night at the end, we were all so tense because we wanted them all to win. You know, so we really did just engage with the family and you know go through the story with them.
And if I can flip that question around, what's the greatest lesson that you guys, the family and Waj, you feel that filmmakers who want to come into people's lives and make a film about people's lives, what's the biggest lesson that filmmakers should take from that, and how to engage with you guys and actually tell your story authentically?
I mean, like Sam and Jim said earlier, I mean, it was a lot to do with the mutual respect as well with the community and the collaboration, and that helped a great deal, and I think it just made the Horvath family really comfortable with what Jim and Sam were trying to do and the message they were trying to get out there. So I think that the mutual trust, I believe, is a big thing.
We've got a question coming from the audience. We're saying, for the filmmakers, was there anything that you missed out in the final cut that you wish you included?
What?
More David.
Yeah,
More David.
it was actually it was really hard to decide how to focus the film with kind of you know, not having one main character makes it much harder to kind of steer the ship, really. So yeah, I do wish I'd included more of everybody, really. Half the film was fighting. I don't know if anybody noticed. I wanted that to be really immersive, and it's a bit like Waj is saying. You know, when you're in those events, I've not fought, but when you're up close like that, you kind of think, man, you know, that's really it's quite mad doing that, isn't it? So I kind of wanted to, you know, put the audience in that perspective.
I mean, we're coming to a close and gone through all the questions. And the last question I'd take is, it's been a remarkable journey for you guys as independent filmmakers, but also as a family. This is one of the very few times, actually, DocFest has been able to actually get a community film from Sheffield to DocFest in the showroom. If there was one thing that you could tell the audience that you've learned, or you've a nugget of success that you've taken from the journey, what's going to shape you as fighters, as promoters, or as filmmakers, what would it be? I'm going to decide who goes first on that one. Go on, Sam, you go first.
Start now because it takes forever, and start trying to find the money immediately because it doesn't exist, I think.
What was the question?
If there was one thing that, as a fighter, you've taken from the process of someone filming you all the way to the point of a fight, and what would lessons that you take for the lesson for the future?
It's a great thing great thing to see us like climbing up, and at the end of the process, it feels good.
Yeah, and as a promoter, like I've previously mentioned, for me, just getting kickboxing and Thai boxing out there, and also it's not just to reiterate the sport. It's not just about fighting as well. It does drive a lot of discipline into people, and it helps you brings people onto the right path. And I think it's a great sport. So.
Jim, anything last thing
Any
as
nuggets?
director?
I think I already kind of said it, but yeah, if you've got something you think is worth telling, no matter how small, I think you should just give it a go. Because, yeah, like I've said a couple of times, we never started out thinking we would be here and thinking it would take so long to kind of make, and that we would kind of revisit everything so many times. But if you've got something that you want to say, then yeah, just go out and give it a go. Yeah. But it is hard.
But I can recall one of the things that you said to me at the end of Page All First, where you said, what the remarkable thing is, you don't need to go that far to find a remarkable story. Here, right now, you just at a doorstep, somewhere where you never thought that a massive story could you found an absolute wonderful story to tell. So massive congratulations to the whole of the stage. Can you give them a massive round of applause, please?
There's one more thing Ladislav want to say, and
Go
I'm
for it.
just like translating for him. He want to thanks like everybody who supported him. He want to thanks Adrian Abdullah and his brother, Imran Khan, Zak Azil, obviously such a great guy, Wad Shafiq, for promoting us in fights. And as he said, it's just such a good experience for him that he met all these people. And we want to thanks as well for coming out here, Muscle Madness Gym, Dave. It's been a good thing to come and support us.
I think that will draw a close for the night. For another round of applause for the audience and everybody else.